4 college students, 1 house, and a roommate who saw the killer's face but waited 8 hours to call 911. This is the story of the Idaho Murders. November 13th, 2022, Moscow, Idaho, a small college town that hadn't seen a murder in 7 years. At 1122 King Road, 5 University of Idaho students shared an off-campus home. That night, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin went to a fraternity event with his girlfriend, 20-year-old Zana Kernodle. 21-year-olds Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan went out in town. Their roommates, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, were also out before returning home. By early morning, everyone was back in the house. Only 2 would survive. Around 4 a.m., records show Zana received a DoorDash order. She was awake, eating, with Ethan in her second-floor bedroom. On the 3rd floor, Kaylee and Maddie were asleep. Dylan was in her room on the 2nd floor. Bethany was on the 1st. Then, something changed. Dylan was awakened by noises. She opened her door and heard a male voice say something like, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," which she thought might be one of her roommates. She heard a sound like a loud thud or a pop and a dog barking. When she opened her door again, she saw him, a tall, slim man in black clothing and a mask, walking toward the sliding glass door. She froze in place as he passed. Then she locked herself in her room. And she did not call 911. Hours went by. Phone records show messages and calls between the surviving roommates and other friends that morning. They thought someone in the house was simply unconscious, not murdered. At 11:56 a.m., a 911 call reported an unresponsive person at the King Road home. Police arrived to a horrifying scene, blood on floors and walls, and 4 students dead in different rooms of the house. The killer was gone. The murder weapon, believed to be a large knife, was never found. But one crucial piece of evidence remained, a tan leather sheath for a Kabar-style knife left near one of the victims. On the snap of that sheath, investigators found DNA from a single male. For weeks, there were no arrests. Online speculation exploded as people tried to solve the case themselves. Behind the scenes, investigators were combing through thousands of tips and hours of video. Then came a breakthrough. Surveillance footage showed a white Hyundai Elantra making multiple passes near the house around the time of the murders. Police narrowed their search to tens of thousands of similar cars, then to one registered just across the state line in Pullman, Washington. The car belonged to a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger. Cell phone data, vehicle movements, and the DNA on the knife sheath converged on him as the suspect. On December 30th, 2022, Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania, more than 2,000 miles from Moscow. He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. He did not confess. He offered no motive. For a long time, the case stalled in pre-trial motions and secrecy, leaving the public with more questions than answers. Families feared they would have to relive everything in a long public trial. Then, in 2025, everything changed. Kohberger agreed to plead guilty to all counts. In exchange, prosecutors took the death penalty off the table. He faced 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. At sentencing, the surviving roommates and the victims' families finally spoke directly about what had been taken from them. Dylan Mortensen described how that night shattered her life and how she still suffers panic attacks that hit her like a tsunami, reliving the horror over and over. She called Kohberger a person without empathy or remorse, someone who chose destruction and evil. Bethany, through a written statement, spoke of guilt and regret, wondering if calling 911 sooner would have changed anything, even though she knows, rationally, it likely would not have. The families of Kaylee, Maddie, Zana, and Ethan described stolen futures and an unbearable emptiness that no sentence can fix. Prosecutors said the attack could have taken only a few minutes from start to finish. 4 minutes to end 4 lives. And still, one question will not go away. Dylan saw the killer. She stood frozen in the doorway as he walked past her. He left her alive. Some investigators believe he may not have seen her in the darkness, focused only on escaping the house. Others say the true reason may never be known. If she had called 911 right away, could anyone have been saved? Or were they already gone by the time she locked her door? In December 2023, the house at 1122 King Road was demolished, an attempt to give the community a fresh start and remove a constant reminder of the crime. But for the families, there is no demolition for grief. It does not disappear. Today, Bryan Kohberger sits in a maximum security prison in Idaho, serving 4 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole. He has never explained why he did it. And so the haunting questions remain. What drives someone to walk into a house full of sleeping college students and destroy everything in a matter of minutes? Why did 4 die, and why did the one who saw his face survive? The Idaho murders captivated a nation. The facts are known, but the why behind them may never be.